I was totally wasted when I pulled my worst enemy into a tight embrace. Right then, she pulled out her family heirloom ring and slid it onto my index finger. She claimed me. Right then, the entire room went completely silent. But eldest Miss Chi grabbed my hand. "Wrong finger, hubby," she teased. The crowd absolutely lost it. We were bitter rivals. Everyone knew it. I hated her to my absolute core. But none of them knew my biggest secret. I was actually reborn, after a horrific fire completely ruined my face and voice. Everyone despised me, yet she held me, whispering for Shi Chen to never be afraid. In that dark moment, I finally realized that my greatest enemy was actually the only person who truly loved me in this world. Right before I died, she squeezed me tight. With cold lips against my ear, she hoarsely begged Shi Chen to please love her. I screamed in agony. "I love you," I begged, but she could no longer hear my voice. Fortunately, the day I opened my eyes again was during the red carpet of a massive awards ceremony. There she was, leaning against her car with unmatched elegance and breathtaking beauty. In that single moment, my entire world completely faded away, leaving only her. I sprinted across the red carpet, dying to tell her the 3 words she never got to hear. I told her that I loved her, sending the entire venue and millions of online livestream viewers into a state of total shock. Every single person recognized the gorgeous woman in my arms, Qingrou, the legendary eldest heiress of the powerful Qi family. She was totally unreachable, an incredibly dangerous queen who made everyone willingly sink into her depths. Suddenly, the noisy venue went dead silent. Only endless camera flashes kept going off. While the venue was silent, the live chat absolutely exploded with angry fans asking what on earth Shi Chen was doing kissing Boss Qi. Did he go completely insane for fame? First, he attacked Shi Bai before the livestream even started, and now he is forcefully kissing her. Is he reading too many novels, expecting this stunt to go viral? This beautiful heiress is famous for keeping every man at a distance, never even giving someone like Shi Bai the time of day. Who does he think he is? He must have a death wish, especially since they have hated each other since they were kids. This is going to be an absolutely epic train wreck. How dare he kiss her? He should just go disappear. Do not worry, the eldest miss will absolutely destroy him for this, and so will the entire internet. Even my manager Song Yi looked like his eyes were about to pop right out. He was one of the very few who knew my history with Qingrou. Sure, we were technically childhood friends, but absolutely not the friendly kind. Honestly, we were so hostile that whenever Qingrou walked into a room, I would literally spray air freshener to disinfect the area. The problem was that I adored He Momo, who absolutely despised the universally loved Qingrou. So out of stupid, blind loyalty, I spent my childhood hating her too. Right now, Song Yi assumed I had finally lost my mind. Shi Chen has officially lost his mind. Nearby, Shi Bai nursed his bruised face, staring with wide eyes while a smug smile crept in, excited to see me trigger a dangerous woman. Is he not worried she will completely ruin him? Even Qingrou's bodyguards were exchanging confused, worried glances. To be honest, they tried to tackle me when I first charged forward, but their lady held them back with one sharp glance. They wondered if the eldest master of the Shi family had a new plan to scheme against their young mistress. Did he put poison in his mouth just to harm her? Yet, all their confusion was nothing compared to the shock Qingrou felt, and here is her side of it. She actually expected me to humiliate her. She wanted to see what stupid stunt this exiled master of the Shi family would try next. But before she could even utter a single mocking word, I leaned down and pressed my lips directly against hers. Instantly, Qingrou's mind went completely blank, filled with a loud, ringing sound. She froze, wondering if Shi Chen meant to bite her neck but accidentally hit her mouth instead. As she debated telling him he missed, I whispered that I loved her, calling her Qingrou with deep warmth. My voice was incredibly soft, almost fading into the wind, but it made Qingrou's heart instantly tighten in her chest. She placed her hands on my shoulders to push me back, making the livestream viewers yell that the slap was finally coming. But as Qingrou looked up, she saw my eyes filled with the overwhelming relief of finding a lost treasure. Her heart skipped a beat. While the entire crowd waited for her to slap me across the face, she gently reached up and stroked my cheek. She gently asked what was wrong, leaving everyone completely baffled. They expected this cold queen to send me flying with a slap, but now they could only look at each other in shock. Flashes exploded, non-stop. The livestream chat was scrolling at lightning speed. The viewer count broke the stream entirely. Netizens screamed to fix the platform so they could watch Miss Chi slap him before bed. But right then, the entire world just vanished. For me, she was the only thing that existed. My voice cracked. Raw and heavy, I told her how much I missed her while my hands gripped her waist, terrified she would vanish. I whispered that I missed her so much. Qingrou froze, wondering why Ah Chen was suddenly calling her by her name. Did he mistake her? Qingrou stayed quiet, warily scanning the crowd around her. Instantly, the gossiping onlookers looked away, some staring at the sky, others staring at the ground. Qingrou knew this was definitely not the place to talk. Frowning, she grabbed my arm to pull my hands away, but panic seized me. I held her even tighter, begging her not to go or leave me. I promised to be perfectly obedient from now on. Qingrou looked utterly helpless, telling me she was not going anywhere. She ordered me into the car, but I stubbornly held on, terrified she would disappear if I let go. It felt unreal, like a beautiful dream I simply could not bear to lose. She asked what it would take to let her go. I pleaded for a kiss, just to know she was real. I wanted that kiss to feel real before she pushed me away. I desperately craved the warmth of her lips on mine. That memory hurt. Her icy cold voice begging me to love her was far too painful. Qingrou frowned slightly. Usually, Ah Chen only knew how to make her absolutely furious. She wondered what got into him today. Why was he suddenly coaxing her? Was he trying to seduce her? Maybe he wanted to create receipts online, hoping to mock her later for falling into his handsome trap. Qingrou smirked. Too bad for him. Ever since she was young, she had never feared a honey trap. Chuckling, she reached up to caress my cheek with her slender fingers before pulling me into a warm embrace. Just watch this. The second she looks up, the crash stream suddenly comes back online. Cameras caught the stunning couple holding each other on the red carpet, looking exactly like a fairy tale prince and princess. No time to think. Netizens immediately started spamming the chat. They flooded the screen, screaming about whether she just shut him up with an aggressive kiss. The search boards exploded. Some suspected I was blackmailing the wealthy Miss Chi with some secret dirt. Others claimed I seduced her, or even used some dark voodoo magic to completely bewitch her. Basically, nobody believed that Qingrou actually wanted to kiss me of her own free will. To the public, we were two parallel lines that belonged to completely different worlds, heaven and earth. A hater even commented that once Miss Chi wakes up, Shi Chen is going to face a brutal end. Otherwise, he promised a full 360-degree handstand while eating dirt. While the internet was turning completely upside down, I sat inside the spacious luxury car, staring eagerly at Qingrou. Qingrou lounged back lazily, scrolling through her phone with those slender fingers. Super annoyed, she hung up on another gossiping friend and shut her phone off completely before turning her eyes onto me. She asked in a cold, casual tone if I had amnesia or simply mistook her for someone else. I shook my head quickly, insisting she was the right person as I reached to hug her. No hugging. Her warning made me sit back properly. She sighed inwardly since she just got him to let go, and now he wanted another hug. Frowning slightly, she wondered why he suddenly had this constant urge to hold her every single time he spoke. Was he this clingy with Momo too? My hand froze midair, pulling back instantly. I looked pitiful, and honestly, you can't blame her for thinking something was totally wrong here. Her sworn enemy was acting way too weird. Hiding her growing doubt, she asked if I really knew who she was. I nodded with absolute certainty, repeating her full name, Qingrou. Softly, I added that she was my Qingrou, making her heart instantly skip a beat. She pressed her cool hand against my forehead, asking if a fever had totally burned my brain. Her touch was chilly, instantly bringing back the memory of her freezing embrace and our final moments together. I squeezed my fists, whispering that I do not have a fever. Qingrou pulls her hand away, crossing her arms to look down at me haughtily. She tells me to spit it out, demanding to know what dumb trick I came up with to mess with her this time. Then, she pauses. My family's massive banquet is actually happening tomorrow, she remembers. Apparently, that unhinged woman Momo already bought a ring to propose to Shi Bai. Both families are desperate to push through with this arranged marriage alliance. I was thrown out of the Shi family a month ago. Why? Because Shi Bai got kidnapped, and they pinned all the blame on me. My family? Utterly disgusted with me. Publicly cutting ties for good. Naturally, my arranged engagement with Momo was thrown in the trash right after. Qingrou stopped smiling entirely, staring at me with a pretty cold, distant look in her eyes. She asks if I am trying to use her to make Momo jealous. Meanwhile, I recall seeing Ah Chen punch Shi Bai earlier. I was quite worried back then. Ah Chen always had a horrible temper, but he had never acted this crazy in public before. Thinking he lost his mind over Momo, I scrambled out of the car to back my guy up without a second thought. Think about that, I literally handed him the perfect weapon to ruin my life. Remembering those 2 quick kisses, Qingrou looks furious. She snaps that I really went all out just for Momo. She's ready to throw me out. I play completely dumb, asking who this Momo even is, acting like a total fool. Qingrou goes completely silent for 2 seconds. She taps the driver, Wenjing, telling her to head straight for the 10th psychiatric hospital. Wenjing pauses, then simply replies that she understands. Third miss. With zero hesitation, she spins the wheel, steering us right toward the 10th hospital. My eyebrows knit together. Hold on, she literally thinks I am crazy, but I have totally snapped out of the days of my rebirth. I know for a fact I came back to life. Still, pretending I lost my memory to gain her trust is a pretty genius move. Seriously, I do not care about anyone else. The only person who matters is my Qingrou. In this life, she is the only one I want to remember and love. Suddenly, she whispers softly right by my ear, offering one final chance. She warns me to confess my plan now. Otherwise, once I step inside the 10th hospital, I am never getting out. Under the dim car lights, I turn to stare at her beautifully cold, elegant face. Before I burned to death in my past life, I always assumed her eyes were icy, like frozen mountain water. But I learned too late that scorching magma flowed beneath that ice. Her intense love could melt anything. Keeping my voice entirely calm, I whisper that I am not plotting anything, I just want to love her. That cold mask of hers instantly shatters. She sneers through her red lips, demanding to know how exactly I plan to love her. She asks if I think she is an idiot, bringing up the nasty things I said when we crossed paths at the clubhouse this morning. My head is spinning. Why are we getting a sudden flashback right now? That felt like ages ago. Let me think. I rack my brain for a moment before the memory finally hits me. We actually did bump into each other this morning. She was stepping out of the elevator just as I was getting inside. As we passed, I loudly told Song Yi that we needed to spray some air freshener because the elevator smelled terrible. I even muttered how incredibly unlucky I was just to irritate her. Recalling this, my eyes flicker with guilt. Qingrou scoffs, noting that my guilty face completely gives me away. Instantly, I make my eyes look completely innocent. I lie, insisting I have absolutely no memory of what I told her. Did I tell you how stunning you look, or how much I love you? Hearing this, Qingrou's fingers twitch with anger. She reaches out and pinches my ear, telling me to stop playing dumb because she is not buying my act. Did Momo actually fall for this back then? Rubbing my ear, I playfully ask what kind of moves my Qingrou prefers. With a huff, she says cheap tricks never work on her. Before she can even finish her sentence, I lean in close to her lips. She quickly snaps out of it and shoves me away. With her face blushing deeply, she grits her teeth. I stare back playfully, my eyes dancing with genuine warmth. Since that failed, I slide my arm around her waist, asking softly with hopeful eyes if she would like to kiss me back instead. Up front, our driver Wenjing instantly perks her ears up. Oh my god, she thinks, this is perfect. Third miss, just go for it. Your lonely winter is finally over. Qingrou freezes, her eyes locked completely on my lips as she bites her own. She might actually kiss me back. The word okay is right there on the tip of her tongue, but instead, she forces out 3 harsh words. In your dreams. Just like that, all the hope in my eyes completely shatters, and I hang my head. Qingrou tries to calm her racing heart. She cannot let him trick her. Does he really think he can just charm me like this? She quietly takes a step back, muttering for him to stay away, her voice laced with hidden jealousy. Who taught you these moves? Was it Himomo? I try to interrupt, but she snaps. I already told you I do not know any Himomo. Why do you keep mentioning her? Who is she anyway? You taught me everything I know. Besides, Himomo does not even like me anyway. My constant excuses are pushing Qingrou's patience to the absolute limit. She asks coldly how long I plan to keep acting. My heart sinks as I insist. I am telling the truth. I only love you. I only want to love you. Why will you not just believe me? Why is Qingrou so incredibly difficult to deal with right now? I figured a simple confession would easily do the trick, but is it possible she just has not fallen for me yet in this current timeline? Qingrou stares at me with her pretty eyes. You really do not know Momo? I quickly nod my head. Yeah, I say. I nod. She thinks of something and lets out a wicked little laugh. Fine, she says. I can believe you, but you have to prove it. I look back, asking how do I do that? I blink and flash her a playful smile. Does Qingrou feel like just getting close is not enough? Do you want to spend more time alone with me? Honestly, even the driver Wenjing nearly veers off the road. This guy is on a whole different level. Can our innocent third miss even handle this level of flirting? Sure enough, Qingrou's face is completely flushed, redder than my own ears. Somehow, she keeps her composure, forcing my name out through her tightly clenched teeth. Shi Chen. I look back with the most innocent eyes possible. She fights the urge to kick me out of the car, just poking my forehead with her finger. Clear out all those ridiculous thoughts in your head and throw them away this instant. I reluctantly agree. Qingrou takes a deep, calming breath before telling Wenjing to head back to the Shi Chen Hotel. The Shi Chen Hotel belongs to the Shi family, and it happens to be hosting today's big awards ceremony. Once the awards end, a huge celebration banquet is scheduled right at the hotel. The only reason Qingrou even agreed to come today was because my family was the one organizing it. But the main reason she came was because she knew I would be there. Honestly, I only went because I was worried she might get bullied. No good deed goes unpunished. This guy does not deserve my kindness. Qingrou grinds her teeth, giving me a sharp glare as Wen Jing turns the car. Confused, I ask her why we are heading back. She leans back against the seat, falling right back into the same lazy posture she had when she first stepped inside. But her tone holds a sharp, mocking edge. To give you a chance to perform? Of course. You need to prove this love of yours is actually real. My smile fades. I remember my past life. Clearly it was at this exact celebration banquet where someone set me up. When I woke up, I was lying next to Qingrou in a scandalous mess. I was absolutely devastated and threw her out immediately. Yet, she remained incredibly calm, telling me right then and there that she would marry me. I coldly ordered her to leave, but if my memory serves me right, that drugged drink was handed to me directly by Himomo. Under the dim interior lights, I look over at Qingrou. She has her eyes closed, clearly pretending to be asleep. Her delicate face looks incredibly beautiful. Back then, Himomo had me convinced that Qingrou was fake and cold. It took me way too long to realize I was actually just terrified of getting close to her. I was simply afraid of getting too close. By the time we pull back up to the venue, the awards ceremony is still going strong. Anyone who could not care less about the actual awards has already gathered inside the massive banquet hall to party. The room is packed with rich kids looking for a good time, except right now, the entire vibe in here feels completely off. Just about everyone is casting nervous glances toward Himomo. You can easily see why. Her lifelong admirer just ran off with her ultimate rival, and Qingrou completely outclasses her in every single department. Rich kids do not dare cause trouble, terrified of setting a furious Himomo off. She slumps on the sofa, scrolling through her phone as the viral video of our kiss plays on repeat. She has watched it countless times, and the anger inside her is boiling over. Throwing her phone aside, she coldly orders the person next to her to take down those trending searches immediately. Standing right next to her was her best friend Shi Chen, who was also scrolling through the trending topics. Hearing her say this, Shi Chen was pretty surprised, asking why she wanted to take them down and if she just couldn't stand seeing everyone drag Shi Chen. Himomo glared at her, snapping back that seeing him get dragged did absolutely nothing for her, making Shi Chen click her tongue. Sure, it doesn't help you, but it definitely benefits Xiaobai, because the worse Shi Chen's reputation gets, the better Xiaobai looks. Since you like Xiaobai, why do you even care about Shi Chen? Hearing that, Himomo looked even more annoyed. Himomo snapped back, asking if she was crazy, and demanding to know when she ever said she liked Xiaobai, leaving Shi Chen completely baffled. Shi Chen stammered, asking what she meant and if the one she actually liked this whole time was Shi Chen. Himomo stayed dead silent, but that quiet reaction spoke louder than any words. Lowering her voice, a shocked Shi Chen pointed out that Momo had been so close to Xiaobai for years without ever giving Shi Chen a single decent look. She reminded her that all their friends literally thought Xiaobai was her boyfriend, yet now she was suddenly claiming she liked Shi Chen. She openly wondered what kind of crazy pill Momo had taken, earning a sharp glare from her friend. Frowning, Himomo told her she knew nothing, complaining that Shi Chen just had a terrible temper. She explained she only acted distant to show Shi Chen that being the wealthy heir of the Shi family didn't give him the right to throw tantrums in front of her. Taking a casual sip of red wine, Himomo added that he needed to know his place and learn how to please her. Besides, his family kicked him out. Now, he's got absolutely no choice but to crawl right back to her. Once he returns, he won't ever dare to throw tantrums. She's just teaching him a lesson, leaving Shi Chen completely speechless. Shi Chen realized that being warm to Xiaobai and freezing out Shi Chen for years was just a twisted scheme to make him obedient. I mean, talk about a totally toxic nightmare. Honestly, Shi Chen could barely hold back a massive eye roll. When asked if she was still forcing Xiaobai to marry her tomorrow, Himomo calmly declared her husband would only ever be Shi Chen, leaving Shi Chen speechless. After a tense silence, Shi Chen warned her that Shi Chen didn't look like he was planning to crawl back at all. He went to Qingrou, but Himomo just played with her wine glass. Shi Chen warned her not to lose the fish while playing these games, but Himomo sneered that she just hadn't disciplined him enough yet. She claimed he was acting out because he heard about her proposing to Xiaobai tomorrow, which is why he lashed out and ran to Qingrou. With a sneer, she assumed Shi Chen was just doing this to make her jealous without considering the consequences. She claimed Qingrou would never give her simp the time of day, and that he was just setting himself up for humiliation. Taking another sip of wine, Himomo confidently promised that it wouldn't be long before he came crawling back to beg on his knees. But check this out. Barely a second after she said that, the massive doors of the hall swung wide open. Every guest turned, their expressions freezing, as a stunning woman with an overwhelming aura calmly stepped inside the hall. And right beside her was me, walking in arm. Himomo instantly sat bolt upright, staring straight at me. Qingrou smirked directly at Himomo before locking her fingers tightly with mine, and we both sat down on a nearby vacant sofa. I honestly couldn't tell if Qingrou did this on purpose or not. Instead, we sat directly opposite Himomo's group, barely 10 meters away. The entire hall fell into a sudden dead silence. Himomo instantly demanded that I come over right now, while Qingrou just smiled sweetly, leaning back lazily on the sofa. Playing with my hand, she softly asked if I wanted to go over, but I shook my head, acting confused and saying I didn't even know her. I wasn't going. Everyone fully understood that clear message, including Momo. Momo fumed, demanding Shi Chen get over there right now for his very last chance, while Qingrou's eyes flashed with pure mischief. Leaning extremely close to my ear, she pouted and whispered if I still wanted to prove that I actually loved her. Her warm breath made my heart race wildly as she softly hummed, challenging me to kiss her right in front of Momo. The second those words left her mouth, my eyes instantly lit up, giving Qingrou a sudden bad feeling. Sure enough, I leaned in and kissed her right then and there. Loud gasps erupted instantly, and the entire room went dead silent. People could barely believe his sheer boldness, whispering if he was pushing Himomo way too far and risking a truly terrifying explosion of rage. A woman's sharp, mocking laugh echoed through the room, snapping Qingrou right back to reality. Qingrou glanced over, coldly asking what exactly Himomo thought she was trying to accomplish. Himomo had already stood up, clearly planning to stomp over, but another guest stepped in to stop her. It was Qingrou's close friend, Song Wanwan, who held her back. She and her squad had wanted to greet them earlier, but decided to wait and watch once they saw me following closely behind. I watched those trending searches blow up. It sucked not seeing the drama unfold in person. But man, I definitely did not expect a front row seat to the live action right here. Song Wanwan was pretty surprised, but she still kept her eyes glued to Himomo. Sure enough, she blocked her path without hesitation. You think I will let this crazy Himomo ruin Qingrou's big moment? Not on my watch. No way. Himomo let out a pretty mocking sneer. Get out of my way, she snapped. But Song Wanwan just scoffed back. You think I just jump when you tell me to? My pride is quite on the line here, Himomo barked. I am only asking once more. Move. Song Wanwan just shrugged with a pretty wicked smirk. Make me. What exactly are you planning to do about it? Himomo scowled deeply, pointing her finger right in Song Wanwan's face. Song Wanwan instinctively took a step back. Put that finger away. I absolutely despise being pointed at. Instantly, the air in the room turned ice cold. Nobody else even dared to breathe. That was when it hit me. This was what Qingrou meant when she told me to prove it. She still doubted my feelings, thinking I was just using her. She was convinced I would never dare kiss her right in front of Himomo. Well, guess what? I would easily do it 1,000 times over. Qingrou watched the standoff play out and spoke up quietly. Enough. Instant, dead silence hit the room. Over a dozen eyes locked onto Qingrou. There was a sharp edge of anger in Qingrou's voice. Do not wreck my place. Everyone felt like a bucket of ice water just got dumped on them. This was the Qi family's home turf, after all. Starting drama here meant signing up for a mountain of trouble. A few onlookers glanced at Himomo, wondering what was next, but Himomo's eyes were locked entirely on me. Su Tian saw an opportunity and yelled out, Shi Chen, can't you see someone is picking on Momo? Get over here and help her. Every eye in the room snapped right back to me, including Qingrou's. Seriously, do you actually want to put on a cheap show for everyone? I kept my head down, acting like I had not heard a single word Su Tian said. Qingrou pursed her lips, wondering if her words hit a nerve. Meanwhile, Himomo was pretty much out of patience. Since the moment Chen walked in, he has not looked at me once. He was never quite like this before. Usually, if I was in the room, his eyes would follow me everywhere. She suddenly felt a surge of panic, like things were slipping completely out of her hands. Himomo spoke through gritted teeth, Shi Chen, if you are quite done throwing your little tantrum, get over here. I will let things slide today. Hearing her speak like she was doing me some huge favor, I finally looked up. It was the first time I actually acknowledged her existence all evening. I stared for 2 seconds, got up, and walked over. The annoyance in her eyes faded instantly, replaced by a pretty smug look. I knew it. She thinks Shi Chen is just trying to make her jealous. Talk about delusional. The crowd just exchanges silent looks. Nobody spoke, and they just instinctively parted to let me pass. Song Wanwan hesitated briefly, realizing she had absolutely no excuse to get in Shi Chen's way. She rolled her eyes at Himomo, shook her head, and stepped out of the way. His taste is seriously awful. How is Qingrou worse than this brat? Qingrou's cheeks puffed out with a bit of a pout. She pursed her lips and stared off, stubbornly refusing to look at anyone. Tapping her toe on the floor, she fought the urge to drag me back. If I say one mean thing, you look terrified. Yet when she treats you like garbage, you still run right to her. You absolute idiot. Honestly, after all these years, I should be used to this. But Chen's act today was just so flawless that it left me feeling a little dazed. I actually felt a tiny spark of hope, thinking he was finally willing to notice me. Whatever. This is officially the last time I help him out. Qingrou stood up slowly, keeping her eyes off me as she turned to walk out. She barely took 2 steps before a major commotion broke out. Oh, now watch this. Shi Chen, are you completely insane? Himomo yells in disbelief. Say that again. I could repeat it 100 times, but I do not like you and I am not interested. I turned around, flashing a bright grin at Qingrou. I told Himomo I do not care about her, and she needs to stop looking for trouble. Right, Qingrou? Is that okay, Qingrou? Her heart skipped a pretty heavy beat. Does Chen actually have amnesia? Seeing her frozen in silence, a sudden idea popped into my head. I played weak, reaching my hand out toward her. My leg is totally cramping up. Qingrou, come help me up. The entire hall went dead silent. Qingrou stared at me in silence for a few quiet moments. Then, under everyone's watchful eyes, she walked over. She stood right in front of me without saying a single word, simply pulling my arm over her shoulder to hold me up. I looked at her with bright, glowing eyes, smiling wide. Himomo gritted her teeth, glaring at us with absolute fury. Qingrou, where are you taking Chen? He is mine. I have this terrible feeling that if I let her take him away now, I will lose him forever. She just tilts her head back to look at her. The usual icy glare fades, replaced by a satisfied smirk playing on her lips. From now on, he is mine. Chen chose to walk to me himself. So whether he actually lost his memory or is just using me, there is no going back. Smiling like a blooming flower, she holds my arm as we walk away together. But even so, Qingrou still insists on taking me straight to the hospital. Do not get it twisted, she just wants to see if Chen actually has some serious brain damage. Once we are in the car, I cannot help but lean in close to her. Naturally, she hits me with a freezing command, sit properly. My mouth twitches. Qingrou, do you really hate me holding you? You are so incredibly cold right now, such a bad woman. Qingrou leans back in her seat and asks in a quiet voice, were you this clingy with Momo, too? Acted like you did not have a spine, always needing to lean on her. I frown and mutter back, why do you keep bringing her up? She just turns her head to stare out the window, too exhausted to argue. Do you think I actually want to bring up Himomo? How many years were you obsessed with her? Did you actually forget? The moment we arrive at the clinic, she orders a massive battery of tests for me, even including the psych ward. I am completely speechless. But hey, if going through this makes her feel better, I will gladly play along. All the physical exams come back totally clear, but the psych evaluation is a nightmare of endless questions. No matter what the doctor asks, I just play dumb and say I have no idea. My eyes only light up when they finally mention Qingrou. By the end of it, the poor doctor is looking deeply concerned. Wait, what did he write? Finally, he scribbles down 3 words, stepping outside to hand her the chart with a highly suspicious grin. He drops the file right into her hands. Do not worry, his brain is totally fine, he says, just one tiny little issue, that is all. I tail right behind him. So, they actually know each other? The doctor looks back with a smile, tells her he has to get back to work, and leaves us to it. I quickly call out a polite thank you. As he walks away, I sidle up to Qingrou and flash her the most innocent puppy dog eyes, so, what did the doc say? She looks down at the report with a highly conflicted face, then shoves it toward me, look for yourself. Snatching the paper, I spot the diagnosis right at the bottom, physically and mentally healthy with 0 organic brain diseases. Mood heavily affected by relationship struggles. Mind is totally stable. This leaves me a bit confused. What does that even mean? Qingrou sighs deeply. It means you are love sick. I grin, absolutely thrilled. Now that is a doctor who knows his stuff. Meanwhile, Qingrou double-checks the entire report in disbelief. His body is completely healthy. If he is actually faking all of this just to get close to me, what is his real play? Assuming this is not about Himomo, why would Chen throw away his pride to crawl back to someone he absolutely detested? But honestly, if he is not acting, can a guy really change this much overnight? Qingrou cannot help but reach out and ruffle my hair to check for injuries. Still no bumps. She looks at me suspiciously. Did your head get slammed in the elevator doors this morning? I stare back, totally speechless. Wow, do not hold back on the sarcasm. I ask her with a defeated sigh, why is it so hard to believe I genuinely like you? Qingrou pulls her hand back and looks right into my eyes. Honestly, if you were in my shoes, would you? Fair point. Honestly, I did not believe she cared either until that massive fire. I lock eyes with her, completely serious. Actually, I have always liked you. It is not some sudden whim. Always? Her eyelashes flutter in pure shock. Sensing her confusion about what I mean by always, I quickly add I was just too terrified to ever get close to you. You were so incredible, yet so cold to me. I always felt like I was completely out of your league, I confess, my voice dropping. Qingrou frowns, both annoyed and amused. Shi Chen, do not you dare act like the victim here. You are the one who treated me like absolute garbage. I immediately fire back. I was just deeply frustrated because I could not have you. My desperate love turned into bitter resentment. She grits her teeth. Your sweet talk will not work, so do not change the subject. This makes my mouth twitch. Can you not let me win just once? I am seriously confessing my love here. Qingrou stays quiet, swallowing her mounting irritation before turning around to leave. I just stand there, watching her walk away. Realizing she is not planning to stop, I call out her name. Qingrou. She pauses in her tracks and turns back around. I blink innocently, softening my voice to sound pitiful. Qingrou, my leg hurts. Hearing that, she instantly knows I am being completely shameless again. She scoffed, telling me not to move walk or don't walk. She doesn't care. With that, she turns and walks away. I just stand there, completely frozen, not saying a single word as Qingrou almost reaches the elevator doors. She closes her eyes for a second, then turns right back around without any hesitation. Gritting her teeth, she whispers in my ear, Shi Chen, I must have owed you in my past life. Laughing softly, I drape my arm over her shoulder, leaning in to brush against her cheek before whispering that I'm actually the one who owes her. That instantly cools her temper. Qingrou scoffed coldly, asking if I really owe her. Then shouldn't you be carrying me? Since when does a debtor act this arrogant in front of their creditor? I look at her, dead serious, and explain that collecting a debt is never an easy task. The bigger the debt, the tougher it gets. So, the creditor has to be nice to the debtor to get paid back. Qingrou scoffs, telling me I have some seriously twisted logic. I lean close again, whispering that my debt is massive, so she has to stay with me forever. That way, I will have a whole lifetime to slowly pay her back as my lover. With that, both of us step into the elevator. She looks up, staring intently at me, asking if I actually know what a lifetime really means. Looking deep into her eyes, I tell her word for word a lifetime means never leaving. It means growing old together. Funnily enough, we now live in the same building, her upstairs and me downstairs. When my family kicked me out, I was totally lost, but luckily, Song Yi helped rent this place. Only later did I realize this apartment actually belonged to Qingrou. She had secretly let Song Yi rent it for cheap. As Qingrou walks me home, I ask to stay over. She gives me a warning glare, telling me to behave. Disappointed, I walk away, looking back every few steps. Qingrou stands near the elevator looking annoyed as she watches me reluctantly head inside my apartment. But the moment my door clicks shut, her annoyed face instantly melts into pure joy. She can't help but smile, trying to hide her excitement after such an emotionally wild night. My promise in the elevator to never leave and grow old together is still ringing in her ears. You honestly can't blame her for wondering if it's just a dream. I had no clue. My words would suddenly trigger all those feelings she had suppressed for years. She literally had to use every ounce of self-control not to pull me back to her place. Giving my door one last look, Qingrou heads upstairs to her own place to wash up. Suddenly, a sharp pain shoots through the back of her hand, making her drop her cup in total shock. Her skin is completely unmarked, yet the throbbing remains. Confused, Qingrou turns off the tap and leaves. Sitting on the sofa, she stares at her hand, watching the mysterious pain slowly fade away. As Qingrou leans back to close her eyes, the doorbell suddenly rings out. Opening her eyes, she spots my goofy, shameless face on the monitor. Talk about perfect timing. Sighing, she wonders if I'll ever let her rest, before letting out a soft, amused laugh. Besides, she wanted me here anyway. Qingrou opens the door. She asks with a sigh if I know what time it is, immediately noticing I am still wearing the exact same clothes from earlier and wondering what I was up to. I stand there, pitifully holding out my hand and complaining that my cat, Mao Qiu, scratched me. The red scratch mark is incredibly obvious. Qingrou stares at the wound as panic flares. Is it just a coincidence that she felt pain in this exact spot? Snapping back to reality, she asks if I treated it, but I just shake my head. Frowning, Qingrou asks how a cat owner doesn't know this, but Mao Qiu is indeed my cat. I have raised him for 4 years, and he was the only thing I took when leaving my family. I shrug, arguing that since I have never been scratched before, it is totally normal not to know what to do. Qingrou gives up arguing, grabbing my wrist to pull me straight inside her apartment. A smirk flashes in my eyes, but when she suddenly turns around, I quickly look pitiful again. Asking what is wrong, my acting is pure gold as she drags me to the kitchen. She turned on the tap, gently grabbed my hand, and held it right under the cool running water. The cold flow washed over my scratch. I flinched a bit as it stung. Suddenly, Qingrou, who was holding my hand, started trembling. This dark, creepy feeling hit her out of nowhere. Right at that exact second, the back of her own hand started stinging too. Actual pain. She stared closely at my hand. The cut was quite shallow, barely breaking the skin with a tiny bead of blood. Taking a soft breath, she forced those weird thoughts away. Qingrou finally spoke up, telling me she would get someone to bring me a rabies shot later. I nodded in agreement. We were standing pretty close. Looking down a bit, I noticed her frowning, her tiny face full of worry. Seeing her knitted brows like that made my heart flutter slightly. Qingrou got a bit awkward under my gaze and quietly wrapped her jacket tighter around herself. I teased her for being so defensive. She stayed quiet for a bit before asking why my cat had suddenly lashed out at me. Since I had raised him for ages, why would he attack me now? Especially since she was the one who took him to get fixed. I quietly mumbled that I had no idea, honestly believing there might be some kind of bad energy lurking in my apartment. Qingrou was pretty speechless. She thought Shi Chen was acting incredibly ridiculous, just making up wild stories to get attention. I kept staring at her with dead serious eyes, insisting the poor cat probably saw a literal ghost and totally lost his mind. Fearing the worst, I confessed I was genuinely too terrified to go back inside my own house. Deep down, I actually felt a little guilty. It was almost like Mao Qiu could sense I was somehow a completely different person. Qingrou just listened to my wild excuses. I stared back at her with pleading eyes, hoping she would let me stay at her place for just one night. Leaning in close, Qingrou stared right at me. She asked how she was only just realizing how incredibly shameless Shi Chen could really be. I raised my hand and swore it was all true. I told her if she doubted me, she could come downstairs and see the beast. Qingrou stared at me. Recalling that strange phantom pain from earlier, she slowly nodded. Fine, she muttered, heading toward the living room. She told me to stop rinsing and dry my hands. She grabbed some iodine and a cotton swab, carefully dabbing the dark liquid onto my open cut to clean it. As she dabbed it, a sharp sting hit my hand and get this. Qingrou's hand froze right in its tracks. The bizarre feeling of sharing my pain was getting way too real for her. She looked up, asking if it actually hurt. I admitted it stung a little, but she already knew that exact level of pain. Shaking, she took a breath and tossed the swab away. She told me we were going down to check. The second she unlocked my door, I quickly ducked behind Qingrou. Qingrou gave me a completely helpless look, asking why on earth I was hiding inside my own apartment. My eyes were full of nervous fear. Honestly, earlier he was just a sweet, fluffy ball of fur sleeping peacefully on my living room sofa. I had sat down beside him, zoning out for a minute while my fingers gently petted his soft head. It had been a lifetime since I last held him. In the fire from my previous life, poor Mao Qiu never made it. He suddenly woke up and rubbed against my hand. But right as he went to jump into my arms, his eyes went wide. Out of nowhere, his fur stood straight up and he went completely wild, clawing my hand before I could even react. I scrambled backward in shock. Mao Qiu arched his back, glaring at me with pure hatred. Believing he was about to rip my face off, I panicked and fled straight upstairs to Qingrou's apartment. Back in the present, my apartment lights were still shining. Realizing I might actually be telling the truth, Qingrou cautiously led the way inside. Crossing the threshold, we spotted my cat in the center of the room. He was just happily chasing his tail in circles. Qingrou turned around, looking at me like I was insane, asking if this playful kitten was my terrifying monster. But watch what happens next. The moment Mao Qiu heard us and looked over, his playful mood completely vanished as he puffed up. Fur spiked, back fully bent, his teeth bared as he prepared to leap straight at my face. I immediately grabbed Qingrou's hand, pulling her behind me. I pointed at the feral beast, telling her he is exactly like this. As Mao Qiu lunged, Qingrou pulled me out of the way, sharply commanding the angry cat to stop right there. Clutching her hand tight, I told her a cat cannot understand human speech and begged her to just leave right now. We could get a vet to check him tomorrow. But just then, Mao Qiu stopped and stared directly at Qingrou. The animal froze in absolute shock. Suddenly, all that terrifying anger in his eyes completely faded away. His spiked coat instantly flattened. He looked at her like he had finally reunited with a long-lost family member. Purring softly, he rubbed against Qingrou's leg, acting super sweet and clingy. Honestly, she felt his needy attitude was pretty much identical to mine. She chuckles softly, her voice sounding a lot gentler as she teases that the cat is way more obedient than me, making my face darken with frustration. I grumble about this ungrateful furball, wondering how the pet I raised with blood, sweat, and tears could betray me like this. With a soft smile, Qingrou tells me to let go, but I keep holding her small hand, completely refusing to let go. She turns her head to look at me, so I lean in close, steal a quick kiss on her cheek, and finally pull my hand back. A wave of annoyance hits her, secretly calling HN an idiot for stealing kisses again. Bending down, Qingrou scoops up the cat rubbing against her leg, sits on the couch, and places him on her lap, gently stroking Malkia's head. She looks down carefully, checking him over to see if anything is wrong. Malkia is incredibly sweet in her arms, lying quiet while she pets and examines him, so I decide to slowly take a few steps closer. But the moment I get within 3 steps, Malkia suddenly snaps his head up and lets out a sharp hiss at me. I freeze instantly. Qingrou frowns and taps Malkia's head, asking who exactly he thinks he is being so aggressive toward. Malkia meows and slinks back down, but the glare he directs at me is still pretty far from friendly. Looking up, Qingrou sees me standing there looking completely defeated, and her fingers twitch slightly. I sigh in disappointment, saying there is nothing wrong with him. So why is he being so hostile to his own owner? It is like he does not even recognize me anymore. Hearing this, Qingrou lowers her gaze. Talk about a massive plot twist. She starts wondering if the real issue is not the cat, but the man standing right in front of her. What did HN actually do to make this animal uneasy? Could the man standing here be someone else entirely? This terrifying thought makes her heart race. Qingrou gently places Malkia on the floor and pats his back, telling him to go play somewhere else for a bit. Malkia refuses to leave, curling up right next to her, but she ignores him. Instead, she looks up at me, HN, and reaches her hand out. She tells me to come over. I step forward, take her hand, and let her pull me down to sit close by. Qingrou leans in closer to me, making my eyes widen in slight confusion at her sudden closeness. This is the first time she has initiated any closeness today. Her fingertip gently taps my chin, urging me to look right at her. With a touch of shyness, Qingrou tells me not to move and just let her look at me. We are so close now, close enough that I can clearly see my own reflection inside her eyes. Confused, I ask what she is looking at. Qingrou does not answer, her small hand gently tracing the outline of my face. Her clear eyes reflect my face, and blushing slightly, she feels certain that the man sitting beside her is indeed HN. She whispers that there is nobody else around right now, but I completely miss the hidden meaning in her words. Leaning even closer, she asks in a soft, slightly husky voice if I still want to kiss her, her warm breath brushing my skin. Her lips almost brush against mine as she speaks. My breath catches because I can see how deeply she cares for me. I know this look so well. In my past life, she looked at me with this exact same expression. But after that day, our private videos leaked right when everyone was speculating about our relationship. And you are not going to believe this, but someone suddenly leaks rumors that she is actually engaged to another wealthy heir. Their 2 families had already agreed on this match way before the new year. That second young master, Su Muhei, even made a pointed online post claiming that those who do wrong are destined to ruin. Everyone knew he was targeting me, and in an instant, the internet was flooded with pure malice directed my way. Even though the trending topics were wiped and Su Muhei quickly deleted his post to apologize, the damage was already done. Qingrou even posted her own statement, clarifying that she was the one actively chasing me and had absolutely nothing to do with Su Muhei. But by then, nobody wanted to believe it, leaving me completely overwhelmed by the intense public backlash. Under that crushing pressure, even my parents treated me with nothing but cold indifference, and Momo only looked at me with cold distance. I was in so much agonizing pain back then, with absolutely nowhere to turn. So, I ended up venting all my frustration onto Qingrou. Back then, I foolishly mistook her genuine care for pure malice. It took me a long time to realize that the deep tenderness in her eyes was a love she had quietly hidden for years. She had actually loved me for a very long time. Seeing me spacing out, Qingrou purses her lips slightly and asks if I do not want to kiss her anymore. Snapping back to reality, I pull her close, whispering no, which makes her shyly tell me to go ahead and kiss her. She was offering herself up for a kiss from her agent. Her words made my ears burn hot, but in that brief split second, my mind flashed back to my past life. I knew I had to get some clear answers first. Reaching out, I gently pushed her back as she looked up at me with a mix of embarrassment and annoyance. I asked her straight out if she and Su Muhi were getting engaged. Qingrou froze and asked who Su Muhi even was, leaving me completely exasperated. Actually, she had already explained things last time, proving she had absolutely no relationship with Su Muhi. Sure, their families had arranged a meeting before, but she rejected him on the spot. It is just that today, Qingrou and I suddenly blew up on the trending topics. Now, everyone online is guessing our relationship. I was not set up by anyone this time, but looking at the timeline of my past life, by tomorrow, their engagement news will explode, taking over the top trending spot. Su Muhi is going to make that post again, so watch how I handle this mess before it blows up. I cannot just wait for public opinion to explode before trying to fix it. Nowadays, people rarely believe late clarifications anyway. I glared at her, reminding her about the second young master of the Su family, Su Muhi. He came back from abroad before the new year, and you two literally went on a blind date, yet you still claim you do not know him. Speaking of which, back during Qingrou and Su Muhi's blind date, I actually happened to bump right into them. Back then, the two of them were walking shoulder to shoulder out of a private dining room at a restaurant. I glared at Qingrou from a distance, complaining in my head about why I kept running into her everywhere, especially with some handsome guy. It seriously pissed me off. Looking back now, was I actually feeling jealous? She was on a blind date back then, but now she is pretending she does not even know him. I immediately tried to break free, but Qingrou gently told me, Chen, be good. Then, as if suddenly realizing, she gasped, Oh, you mean Su-er? Hearing that name, Su-er, made me feel even more sour. Calling him Su-er is pretty intimate. She uses a cute nickname for him, but calls me by my full name. Qingrou sighed, explaining everyone calls him that. She argued she did not even know his real name, so what else was she supposed to call him? Su Muhi had gone abroad at a young age and only returned a few months ago. He was not familiar with Jingdu's elite circle of rich heirs. She insisted she only met him once and honestly forgot his name. She only knew him as Su-er. As she spoke, Qingrou rubbed her small face against my chest, her voice full of amusement. Teasing me, she playfully asked if she should just call me Shi-da from now on. Her comeback left me completely speechless, and since Shida really didn't sound right, I dropped it. Still confused, I asked what actually happened on that blind date. Qingrou pouted her pretty lips. She argued that meeting once hardly counted as a blind date. Her grandmother had asked her to meet him, but she did not even know it was a setup until she arrived. Once she got there, she rejected him directly. This matched exactly what she told me in my past life. Frowning, I asked about her family, and she said they naturally respected her wishes. After all, the Qi family does not need any political marriage alliances. Her parents obviously prioritized her happiness. Plus, the meeting had been arranged by her grandmother back then. Her grandmother and Su Muhi's grandmother were close friends in their youth, even though they drifted apart in later years. Su Muhi's grandmother brought it up, so her grandmother only asked her to go to save face for an old friend. It was never some arranged alliance. As I pondered, I realized they truly had nothing going on. I breathed a sigh of relief, but I still had to stop Su Muhi's upcoming Weibo post. How do I prevent it? If you were in my shoes, what would you do? She wondered why Chen was acting so weird lately, even though she was positive he was still her Chen. Something just felt completely off. She tilted her head and glanced at Mao Qiu, who was still curled up right beside her. The little pet's gaze was still unfriendly. Qingrou pouted and looked at me, complaining about how I had glared at her all those months ago. She asked if I thought she had not noticed, demanding to know why I was suddenly bringing up the past with such displeasure. She demanded to know if I was rejecting her with a lame excuse, asking if Shi Chen could not keep up his act anymore. Looking at her beautiful, pouting face, my voice softened as I insisted I was not acting. Qingrou leaned closer, telling me to prove it. She whispered for Chen to come closer. If Chen was too shy to kiss her, she would just take the lead. She did not want to hold back, since he was the one who approached her first. Just as I opened my mouth, Qingrou slowly leaned in close. Her nose almost brushed against my cheek, and my heart raced wildly. I realized her current gentleness was entirely different from the dominance she showed in my past life. Back then, we never had such tender intimacy. That sneaky cat beside Qingrou suddenly gets restless again, rubbing and fussing all over her lap like crazy. Qingrou glares at the little troublemaker. I try to look at him too, but the moment our eyes lock, he glares right back with pure rage. She scolds him with a sigh, but Mao Qiu just lets out a pitiful meow. Feeling uneasy, I tell her that I do not want to stay here anymore. Qingrou senses my sudden panic. She gently grabs my hand, ready to head out. As we get up, the cat leaps down to follow us. But Qingrou shuts him down with one sharp glare, making him whimper and curl right back up. Staring at me with those sad eyes, there is no denying he is my cat, That look is so much like my own. Qingrou completely ignores him. I steal one last glance at the lonely pet as the front door shuts. This is wild. Is it actually possible for a pet to sniff out my massive secret? I wonder if the cat knows I'm not the real Shi Chen anymore. Back at her place, I keep whispering in her ear. See? I told you he was crazy fierce, didn't I? Qingrou looks at me and asks what we should do, wondering if I will actually give him up. She walks to the kitchen while I frown. I have raised Mao Qiu for 4 long years. He was a mystery birthday gift left at my door. No name, just a simple card wishing me a happy birthday. I asked everyone I knew back then, but no one would admit to sending him. My friends even laughed at how incredibly ordinary the kitten looked. They completely forgot that I have absolutely loved cats since I was a little kid. My childhood pet was sent away the moment Shi Bai joined our family, because he was highly allergic to animal fur. But now I know Mao Qi was a precious gift from Qingrou. I can never bring myself to abandon him, but with things being so complicated right now, maybe it really is best if I do not keep him around. Watching her pour some water, an idea hits me. How about I stay here with you, and we let Song Yi live downstairs? He can watch over Mao Qiu for me. Once the cat gets used to me again, I will move back. Qingrou turns around with a playful smirk. Why not just drop the cat off at Song Yi's place directly then? I totally lie. Straight face. Mao Qiu is just way too sensitive to new environments. A new home means he won't eat or sleep, and he will get sick. She smiles warmly, handing me the glass. So, you are saying you are completely fine with changing environments? I take a slow sip of my water. I tell her that I am only attached to people, smiling brightly. Wherever you are is where I sleep best. I promise to behave perfectly. Qingrou calls my name and I meet her gaze. Her soft hand reaches up to playfully tug my ear, whispering that it feels like I am a totally different person. It sounds like a simple joke, but panic flashes in my eyes. My hand holding the glass begins to tremble. I force myself to act natural, laughing it off as a wild imagination. Inside, my heart is absolutely hammering. I insist on staying here. If you dare kick me out, I will sleep right outside on your doormat. I quickly turn toward the living room before she can notice the utter terror written all over my face. If she discovers my secret, will she push me away just like Mao Qi did? But suddenly, her arms wrap around my waist. No time to react. She gently presses her warm forehead right against mine. Talk about a dream come true. For years, she longed for his touch, but he always kept his distance. He only ever had eyes for Himomo. Watching them look so happy together made her desperately want to ask what he saw in her. She knew she was not inferior. In fact, she actually asked him once when Himomo coldly brushed him off yet again. Jokingly, she asked why he did not just choose to love her instead, since she was clearly better. But his cold response was that he simply had no feelings for her. For years, Qingrou kept hurt feelings inside. She kept wondering if he would ever spare her even a tiny fraction of the warmth he showed Himomo. It would have made her ecstatic. Now, this impossible fantasy is suddenly real as Shi Chen looks at her with love. A lifetime together? He promises that as he actively pulls her closer to his heart. But just as they hold each other, the sound of keys rattling breaks the silence. Someone is opening the door. A loud voice echoes through the hall, asking why Qingrou called someone over for a rabies shot so late. Silence. Then a gasp. I immediately grab Qingrou and drag her into the kitchen. Song Wanwan stands there completely bewildered, watching 2 actual humans vanish into thin air right before her eyes. She saw exactly what Qingrou was up to just now. Oh boy, that was definitely not a normal hug. Who knew? She just got a front row seat to Qingrou's juicy drama. Just then, Qingrou walks out and rolls her eyes, while Song Wanwan laughs playfully, teasing that she did not see a single thing. She tells them to carry on and pretend she was never there before, happily slipping away, even closing the door behind her like a pro. Song Wanwan leans against the wall, catching her breath. Honestly, we would be just as thrilled by this wild drama. A sudden ding. Liang Qingcheng steps out carrying a medical kit. Spotting Song Wanwan, he asks in total confusion what she is doing out here, his eyes shifting to the closed door. Asking if Qingrou really has a pet inside, Song Wanwan pauses, smiles, and says there is both a cat and a dog in there. Apparently they are fighting. She tells him to hold on and wait for the dust to settle before heading in. His eyes widen. Back inside, I step out of the kitchen, asking if we should continue. Feeling a bit speechless, I ask that, but Qingrou just smiles warmly with curving eyes. She teases if I am embarrassed now, pointing out that I did not seem shy at all in front of everyone earlier. I argue that was public, but being caught alone in private is totally different, asking her if she feels no shame at all. Qingrou does not get my logic. She just finds it cute, gently swinging my hand. She asks if we are not being open, but I softly insist that it definitely feels like sneaking around. She gets a kick out of my reply and asks if I, Shi Chen, simply do not want to take our relationship public. As she speaks, the light in her eyes dims. She quietly wonders if I really have no plans to go public. Is this a game? I shake my head, telling her the issue is actually her. Every time I want to get close to her in public, she acts shy and pushes me away, yet she is so bold in private. Doesn't that mean she is the one hiding things? I tilt my head and look directly at her. I point out that she barely lets me near her outside, asking her to count how many times she turned me down today. Qingrou did not expect me to flip the script. Just this morning, she remembers me looking totally annoyed the second we met. Since I suddenly changed my tune and came on strong tonight, she wonders if she would ever dare to initiate anything herself. Frustrated, Qingrou hooks her arm tightly through mine and lifts her chin to stare straight into my eyes. She asks if I want her to call our guest back inside right now and continue exactly where we left off. Get ready for this. Before I can even reply, Qingrou nods, lets go of my arm, and leaves me completely frozen. Just like that, she's already heading back to the living room. I highly doubt she would actually do this in front of Song Wanwan, but I do not stop her from opening the door either. After all, keeping guests waiting outside is pretty rude. I quickly finish drinking my glass of water while Qingrou swings the front door wide open. Come in. Liang Qingcheng enters, totally confused by Song Wanwan's talk of fighting cats and dogs. Wondering what is going on, he notes her odd expression and cautiously pokes his head inside while holding the medical kit. He looks at Qingrou and mentions that Wanwan claimed her pets were fighting. He asks when she even got a dog, but then he spots me in the room and instantly realizes what Wanwan actually meant. Song Wanwan bursts into laughter and follows him inside, giving me an incredibly bright, knowing smile the moment she sees me. She greets me as brother-in-law, causing all three of us to turn and look at her. Liang Qingcheng stares in utter disbelief, his eyes screaming that she is moving way too fast, but Song Wanwan just locks eyes with him. She silently fires back that Qingrou is dead serious about this, winning their quiet stare down instantly. Taking the hint, Liang Qingcheng quickly greets me as brother-in-law too. Honestly, it is a bit awkward, but I politely say hello back. Hearing my reply, Qingrou looks over with a soft expression, clearly loving how they just addressed me. Sit down, she tells them, before walking right back over to my side. Song Wanwan does not hesitate, dragging Liang Qingcheng down onto the living room sofa with her. Liang Qingcheng innocently asks if she needs a rabies shot, but Song Wanwan quickly tugs his arm and lets out a fake cough. Turning to ask why, Song Wanwan spots us pressed close together and instantly gasps, covering her mouth. She teases that we only let them inside to show off, making them feel like a couple of glaring third wheels. The pair look at each other in total shock, completely stunned by Qingrou's surprisingly bold move. She asks if I still think she's just hiding our relationship. I shake my head fast, no way. She's actually incredibly open-minded. A shy look flashes across Qingrou's face as she adds, if this isn't enough, we can go right out to the living room in front of them. I quickly cover her mouth. Terrifying. This woman is just as crazy as in my past life. All right, that's enough, I tell her, as we lock eyes for 2 seconds. Suddenly, something brushes my palm. I pull back fast, totally admitting defeat, and tell her I should probably get that vaccine first. Qingrou drags me toward the bathroom, telling me to wash up first before the shot. I freeze for a second, but I don't even have to speak, because she already knows exactly what I'm thinking. She tells me there are fresh toiletries inside, and she will head downstairs to grab my clothes. Setting things up inside, she tells me to start washing, promising to hang my clothes on the door when she gets back. I nod and ask her to bring a few extra sets, which makes Qingrou smile quite gently. With a nod, she leaves to give me space. When she walks back into the living room, the two friends sitting on the sofa stare at her with highly suspicious looks. Qingrou pauses before matching their gaze with a perfectly calm face. She asks what they are staring at. Liang Qingcheng just smiles, while Song Wanwan raises an eyebrow. Song Wanwan teases that she never knew her friend had such a playful side to her. Blushing in front of her friends is rare, but Qingrou shoots back that they will act the same when they find a boyfriend. Song Wanwan scoffs, denying she is anything like that. Heading for the door, Qingrou asks if that even applies to the Jiang family heir. Perfect, she says, then I won't tell you the news about him. Song Wanwan scrambles off the sofa, rushing over to Qingrou to beg for any updates regarding Jiang Fan. Qingrou teases her about saying she was so different, but Wanwan quickly folds, admitting she is actually exactly the same. She practically begs for the info as Qingrou reaches the front door, looking back with a knowing grin. Stopping, she gives her a serious look, telling her he's in Gang Cheng. Instantly, Song Wanwan turns dead serious and thanks her. Without wasting another second, she rushes out the door. Watching this, Liang Chencheng asks if that Jiang guy is actually in Gang Cheng. Qingrou simply nods, confirming it. She got the update the very moment he arrived there earlier this afternoon. But get this, as she watches her friend leave, she calmly reveals he went there with his girlfriend. Naturally, Liang Cheng frowns. Qingrou says if she can win him back, good for her, but if not, she has to face reality. After all, she was the one who pushed him away first, so she has nobody else to blame. Leaving it at that, she tells Liang Cheng to wait a bit while she heads downstairs to pack up some clothes for Shi Chen. Liang Cheng lets out a sigh. Nodding, he tells her to go ahead. Qingrou goes downstairs, and the moment she opens her door, her cat rushes over. The cat meows constantly, rubbing against her leg to act spoiled. Qingrou bends down to scratch his head, softly asking why he was so aggressive towards Shi Chen earlier. Naturally, the cat just purrs and rubs against her palm. She sighs softly, patting his head and warning him that acting cute won't work. Telling him his nails are getting trimmed tomorrow, she heads to her bedroom with the cat following right behind. The apartment layout downstairs is completely identical. Finding the master bedroom easily, she pushes the door open, flips on the light, and walks right into his walk-in closet. Qingrou stares at the mostly empty closet with only a few items hanging, frowning slightly. Back in her past life, she had never once seen Shi Chen wear the exact same outfit twice, but this month, he keeps rotating the same few clothes. Grabbing a set of pajamas for me, Qingrou pulls open a drawer and instantly blushes when she sees my underwear. She quickly throws a few pairs into a bag, but wait, here is where she spots a small, mysterious black velvet box. Instantly, she recognizes it. Just a few days ago, my friend Song Yi and I were at a styling studio. I remember nervously asking Song Yi if the gift looked too simple or cheap, and if she would even like it, while he just rolled his eyes. Song Yi told me that she might not even care for the most expensive gift anyway, especially given my current tight budget. Strumming my guitar, I muttered it was a miracle I even got her a gift, and he agreed. Back in the closet, Qingrou quickly looks away. She didn't hear my memory-fueled muttering, but she can easily guess what's inside. She knew deep down that box held nothing but heartbreak. Qingrou already guessed who it was meant for. Driven by a sudden, painful urge, she picked it up. Hands trembling, she carefully lifted the lid. Sitting inside was a gorgeous, delicate hairpin. Tucked right underneath it was a folded note. Qingrou bit her lip, pulling it out to read a simple message, wishing Himomo a happy birthday. Her heart instantly bottomed out. Even though she already saw this coming, the sheer pain of it still cut incredibly deep. If she remembered correctly, Himomo's birthday was 3 days ago. So why hadn't Shi Chen given her the present yet? Qingrou closed her eyes, wondering why Shi Chen could never just choose her, and if he was just using her as a painful rebound. Fighting to stop her hands from shaking, she put the box away, packed her things, and left. Back in the bedroom, the shower was still running in the background. She hung the bag on the door handle and knocked. The water shut off, and Shi Chen called out from inside. He asked if that was her, and Qingrou replied, unable to hide the heavy sadness in her voice. She told him she left his clothes on the door, and he answered that he was almost done washing up, making Qingrou sigh softly. She told him to take his time, wanting to say more, but she just looked down and walked away. A bit later, Shi Chen stepped out and sat beside her, letting his friend Liang Chen administer his rabies shot. Qingrou watched with a tight frown. When the needle went in, she actually winced as if she felt the sting herself. Her eyes wavered. Liang Chen immediately felt the heavy tension and wanted out. Honestly, you can't blame him as a single guy. He felt that heavy tension. After quickly explaining the medical instructions and scheduling the next dose, he rushed out. Shi Chen looked up, locking eyes with Qingrou, asking what was wrong. He was so confused because she was totally fine before his shower. Now, she just stared back in complete silence. She called his name. Shi Chen softly asked what she wanted. Suddenly, she wrapped her arms around him, leaned in close to his ear, and whispered a shocking question: did he want to marry her? Shi Chen was completely stunned. She didn't pull back, pressing closer to suggest they get engaged this very second. He was dazed, asking what she meant by right now. She wanted to commit right now. Then, they could sign their marriage papers first thing tomorrow morning. Pressing closer, she asked again. Under this sudden pressure, Shi Chen felt his mind go entirely blank. Marriage. She had actually begged him for this exact thing in their past life, too. Back then, he had always treated her so coldly. And when his life fell apart later on, he refused her completely. Eventually, she stopped asking, choosing to just silently support him through everything. Yet, hidden deep inside her desk drawer, he had stumbled upon a pair of custom-made diamond rings. He had secretly tried his on once, and it fit perfectly. Now, His silence made her hold her breath as the quiet room echoed with their racing heartbeats. Her voice cracked with deep disappointment, asking if he was unwilling. Shi Chen quickly reassured her that he was more than ready. Hearing this, Qingrou finally gathered the courage to look him in the eyes. Overjoyed, he pulled her into a tight hug and spun her around, telling her how much he loved her and wanted this marriage. She quietly asked if it was true. Qingrou felt her chest tighten. If she hadn't grown up with him and known how deep his resentment ran, and if she hadn't literally just found that birthday gift he failed to give him Momo, she genuinely might have believed his sweet words. It's so painful to watch, she literally thinks he's just putting on a massive act. Even though she knew it was a total lie, she was still willing to play along right now. Pouting, she warned him to remember his promise. She teased about what would happen if he lied, and when he curiously asked what she would do, she vowed to stick to him like glue forever. She promised to cling to him every day, making his heart beat like crazy. She was acting exactly like the sweet, stubborn girl he remembered. And just when she thought her intense words had terrified him, Shi Chen flashed a bright, genuine smile. He agreed. But it was almost midnight. How could they possibly prepare a ceremony right now? But she didn't care. As long as he was willing, nothing else mattered. Qingrou quickly made a few urgent calls. An hour later, heaps of designer bags filled with outfits and luxury accessories were piled high right in the middle of the living room. Touching up her lipstick, she gave him a sheepish look and apologized for the late hour. She promised to order more tomorrow, explaining these custom outfits matched his exact style and urged him to go ahead and try one on. They needed them for their official photos tomorrow, leaving him completely stunned and nodding along. While Qingrou slipped into a stunning white dress, Shi Chen picked out a matching outfit from the delivery bags, creating a perfectly coordinated look for the couple's photos. Just then, the doorbell rang. Qingrou leaned in to plant a sweet kiss on his lips, prompting him to smile and tell her to go answer it. "We will have all the time in the world for this once we are married," Qingrou says with a nod, turning around to open the door. The late-night visitors are none other than the wedding planners and the high-end boutique staff. Stepping inside and seeing the two of us together, the staff members practically have flames of gossip shooting from their eyes. They had been complaining on the way over, wondering who on earth would torture people in the middle of the night by demanding a wedding planning session at this hour. The three of them cannot help but speculate. With the wedding being rushed like this, could the internet rumors be true? Did Shi Chen actually have some dirt to force the wealthy Qingrou into marriage? Next day at the Civil Affairs Bureau, the staff obviously recognize us. Their eyes are loaded with gossip as we sit side by side, until Qingrou suddenly looks at me and says to wait. Confused, I ask what is wrong as the staff's hearts leap into their throats. They think this is it, and honestly, I was holding my breath too. But Qingrou just reaches up to gently adjust my tie. "It is a bit crooked. Let me fix it for you." I offer a soft smile, staring at the lovely woman before me, asking if it is better now, before Qingrou smiles and pecks my cheek, saying it is perfect. Turning my head, I catch the surprised and thrilled stares of the office staff and flash a slightly awkward smile, which they immediately return. That is so sweet, they think, realizing the toxic online rumors absolutely cannot be trusted. Qingrou's face flushes a light pink as she sits back down, naturally locking her arm in mine, before telling the photographer they can take the shot. The photographer peers at the two of us through the camera lens, eyes practically shining. Having seen us on the trending searches, they thought it was all heavy filters, but up close, our striking looks are hitting them right in their romantic hearts. Just a few moments later, we are handed two little red marriage certificates. Right then, Qingrou feels completely dazed. Her husband, he is hers now. Her fingers tremble as she touches the booklet. She turns to look at me. I am also staring blankly at the certificate in my hand. Qingrou purses her lips. Is her husband happy right now, or is he just annoyed? Leaving the bureau, Qingrou hands our wedding favors to the staff. They insist we are far too kind. "It is just our job," they say, wishing Qingrou and Shi Chen a lifetime of love and happiness. Qingrou's expression softens as she thanks them. Back home, she notices I am still staring at the certificate. She asks if I am unhappy. I look up at her, a massive, joyful grin on my face. I call out her name, making Qingrou look at me in surprise, asking if I can post this on Weibo. She looks a bit confused, asking Weibo, as I wave the marriage certificate proudly right in front of her. I tell her I want to post it for an official announcement, because the moment she brought up marriage, I already had this genius plan in mind. Think about it, is this not the best move? Post the certificate now to announce our marriage, and the annoying drama with Su Mu-hei is instantly resolved. Qingrou truly did not expect me to be this eager to announce our marriage. She agrees and sits beside me, but I suddenly frown, realizing that I do not actually have my phone. My assistant Song Yi has my phone since he manages my social media account, which makes Qingrou smile warmly as she offers to post it herself. She quickly snaps a few pictures of the certificates and logs into a Weibo account she has never used before. It does not take long for the trending pages to absolutely explode with her post, promising that they will never part until their hair turns white. The post naturally includes the photos of their 2 marriage certificates. While the entire internet is in a massive frenzy, Qingrou gives the most direct answer. I look at her post, my eyes shifting softly. Suddenly, remembering something, I point out that her wealthy parents still have no idea we just got married. Qingrou chuckles, calling me hubby, making my face flush instantly as my heart beats wildly while she laughs. She tells me that if I have time to worry about them, I should probably focus on something else, leaving me completely confused. Qingrou leans in close, suggesting I think about whether we are going to cozy up and chat in the living room tonight or sleep in separate rooms. Puzzled, I ask her what the difference between those two choices is. Qingrou simply blinks and tells me to decide, so I think about it and naturally take her delicate hand in mine. I tell her to come rest with me, making her stare at our locked hands and warn me not to regret it, though I remain unbothered. I ask why I would ever regret it. But when night falls, Qingrou pulls up the heavy covers, wrapping herself up tightly without hesitation. I look blankly and ask what she is doing, while Qingrou calmly replies she is sleeping. She complains about sleeping without a blanket, leaving me completely confused. I thought she was going to sleep right beside me. Qingrou reaches out from under the blanket, patting the empty space next to her. Come to bed, she says. I still do not get what is going on here. Wait, just like this? I ask. She looks into my eyes, wondering if I had other plans since we are already married. She speaks with a playful pout. Her eyes hold a hint of mischief as she leans over to gently kiss my cheek. To her, Chen is her husband now. Whether I love her or not, she believes I finally belong to her completely. I ask her nervously. Are you really sure you just want to sleep peacefully like this on our actual wedding night? Qingrou blinks back, saying she feels Chen still needs more time to process all this and get ready. With no desire to act on pure impulse, she reminds me she is in no rush. She can wait patiently for me to truly fall in love with her. But guys, little did I know what was really going on in her head. With a playful smile, I tell her I do not need to prepare. She softly pleads for me to give her a little time to adjust. I agree and tell her it is time for sleep. The lights go out, plunging the room into darkness with only the two of us left. Our soft breathing rises and falls in the quiet. I expected to toss and turn all night, but inhaling Qingrou's sweet scent, I quickly drift off. Qingrou, however, stays completely awake, listening closely to my breathing. She is absolutely terrified that when she finally opens her eyes, she will realize this whole marriage was just a beautiful dream. Right then, she hears me mumbling in my sleep begging to escape a nightmare. Qingrou instantly freezes. Her warm emotions turn icy cold in a second. I suddenly bolt upright from the dream, completely drenched in cold sweat. Shaking, my very first reaction is to touch my face. No scars, no burned skin. My breathing slowly starts to steady. Right then, I genuinely thought my entire rebirth was just some cruel illusion. Was it not? Closing my eyes, I take a moment to collect myself before looking over to my side. Qingrou is not there. Sitting up, I check the clock on the wall. It is only 6:30 in the morning. Why is she up so early? I cannot sleep anymore either. Throwing off the blankets, I step out of bed and open the door. Qingrou is standing out on the balcony facing the living room, her back turned to me. I walk over and hug her from behind, gently asking why she is up so early. She stiffens slightly in my embrace before slowly turning around after a few seconds. She asks why I did not sleep a bit longer. With her arms wrapped tightly around my waist, I look down at her pale face and ask if she slept poorly. Qingrou does not answer. Instead, she looks up directly into my eyes and asks how I slept. Did Chen sleep well? Feeling a sudden wave of gloom, I shake my head and admit that I did not. Qingrou bites her lip. When she asks why, I rub my aching temples and admit I had a nightmare. Qingrou softly asks what it was about. Frowning deeply, I struggle to explain. I tell her I dreamed about the day I returned home in my previous life. Himomo was already waiting for me there. The very second I stepped through the door, she immediately started screaming at me. I confronted her about the poisoned wine she gave me, but she denied it completely, throwing whatever objects she could grab straight at my head. Recalling that terrifying moment, my grip on Qingrou automatically tightens. She gently pats my back, trying her best to soothe my panic. She tells me it is just a bad dream, but she is not easily fooled. She clearly feels how tense I still am. Now, if you look closely at her face here, you can see her realizing just how much fear my voice actually carried. Back then, her own intense jealousy and reckless temper had completely blinded her from noticing any of these dark warning signs. Qingrou calls out my name with a shaking voice. She hoarsely asks if Himomo did something awful to me. I do not quite hear her, so she raises her hand to gently caress my cheek. Her question drags my mind straight back to the horrors of my previous life. Suddenly, avoiding her gaze, I lie and claim it is nothing because that old life is completely over, and she already paid the price. In this current timeline, Himomo has absolutely zero chance to hurt me. Qingrou looks deeply pained by my words. Fearing I might notice her distress, she takes a sharp breath to hide her swirling emotions and buries her face into my chest. After a silent moment, she asks if I want to attend the massive banquet hosted by the Shi family today. This instantly shifts my focus. It is a celebration for Shi Yubai. I honestly have zero desire to go or face any member of the Shi family. To me, those people are far worse than total strangers. Qingrou looks up and promises to take me if I want. I ask her why we would even go. Qingrou smirks with pure arrogance, saying we are going to watch a complete joke unfold. A bright smile crosses my face as I realize the Shi family must be desperately looking for me. Since I do not have my phone on me, the Shi family would never dare to cause a scene at Qingrou's house. That is exactly why I've been able to enjoy this quiet peace without any real disturbances until now, but we will have to face them sooner or later. The banquet was at noon, so it was still pretty early. After breakfast, Qingrou headed straight to her study. Meanwhile, the trending searches online were causing a massive uproar. Her phone was almost blowing up with endless calls, but she just turned it off. When she finally booted it back up, she quickly called her globe-trotting parents and replied to a few close friends. As for me, I just went back to our bedroom to catch some more sleep. When I finally woke up, I slipped into the custom-made suit Qingrou ordered for me, then let the stylist fix my hair. Qingrou just sat nearby, her fingers flying across her phone screen. Honestly, I had absolutely no idea what she was up to. Once I was fully ready, I stood up and teased her, asking if her husband looked handsome. Qingrou looked up, put her phone away, and walked right over to me. She smiled and nodded, calling me super handsome, before slipping into a matching haute couture evening gown of her own. Once her styling was finally finished, I stared at her with burning eyes, unable to stop myself from leaning in to plant a soft kiss on her cheek while telling her how gorgeous she looked. Standing side by side, Qingrou felt a twinge of regret, and honestly, can we blame her? She did not want Momo looking at her handsome husband. Actually, no. Showing Ah-Chen off to the world would make everyone absolutely die of envy. He was her husband, after all. The stylists watching us were squealing in excitement over how sweet we were. Hearing their compliments, Qingrou smiled even wider, her eyes curving with joy. She looked up, asking if I heard that, and noting how everyone thought we were the ultimate power couple. I reached out and gently ruffled the top of her hair, speaking to her with a tender warmth I had never shown another soul. I whispered that I was only a perfect match for her, tightly clasping her hand. In that instant, I broke free from all my past caution. Before this, I always chose to endure, hiding my true self and avoiding the spotlight. Keeping a low profile used to be my second nature. But right now, I wanted the entire world to look at us. I wanted to stand proudly by my girl and announce our love to everyone. Qingrou blushed deeply at my sudden, protective behavior. She declared we should head out immediately, eager to show off to everyone that her husband was simply the absolute best. I nodded, letting her lead me out. But the moment we stepped outside, we ran straight into Himomo, who was hiding around the corner of the hallway, secretly spying on us. She was wearing a stunning, expensive gown, and her makeup was completely flawless, but her eyes were glued to me, dripping with pure resentment and paranoia. Honestly, she had been scheming from day one, constantly trying to drive a wedge between Qingrou and me while spreading ugly rumors to ruin her reputation. She even set toxic traps to tear us apart, hoping to force her way into my life and steal everything that rightfully belonged to Qingrou. Seriously, how did she have the nerve to show her face here? The second she saw our fingers tightly locked together, looking so happy and in love, Himomo's face turned completely, deathly pale. Every single bit of hope left in her eyes completely shattered, replaced by burning jealousy and bitter rage as she took a tense step forward. She begged to know if I was really choosing her, crying out about how she was any worse and how much she had sacrificed for me. She asked why I never looked at her, but before I could answer, Qingrou cut in, declaring that I was her husband and only loved her. She told Himomo that her pathetic schemes were wrong from the start. I pulled Qingrou into my arms, the warmth in my eyes instantly freezing into a bone-chilling glare. I told her those were never sacrifices. They were just acts of malice. Looking straight at Himomo, I called her out for spreading rumors about Qingrou, trying to frame her to tear us apart, and even bribing people to maliciously drag our relationship through the mud. I knew about every single thing she did. I only stayed quiet because I did not want Qingrou to be tainted by her filth. That did not mean I condoned her malice. Himomo's face turned completely ashen. She tried to argue back, but was suddenly interrupted by the staff members who hurried over the very people she had bribed to spread those rumors. Look at that, they all confessed the entire truth. The evidence was irrefutable, completely exposing her pathetic schemes. The sweet persona she painstakingly built up had completely collapsed. Her reputation was entirely ruined, and the fair-weather friends who once relied on her all scattered instantly. For her selfish paranoia and vicious schemes, she paid a devastating price, left utterly alone. I looked down at Qingrou in my arms, whispering that the problem was finally solved. Nobody would ever bother us again. Qingrou looked up at me, quietly asking if these awful things were truly over for good. Her eyes sparkled like stars as I solemnly replied that she was right. Our future would finally be filled with nothing but peace and happiness. Just a few days later, our big wedding day arrived right on schedule. The whole venue was covered in blooming flowers under the warm, beautiful sunlight. Honestly, the entire setup looked breathtaking and incredibly grand. Every single person who had ever supported us or wished us well was sitting right there in the audience. Loyal friends who stood by us through the worst times were there, alongside the sweet, kind-hearted elders who had watched our entire journey unfold. We even saw completely random strangers we had helped in the past show up with hearts full of pure gratitude. Real, happy smiles were everywhere you looked. I stood right at the end of the flower aisle, looking sharp in my tuxedo. Just watch this, the moment everyone has been waiting for, when Qingrou stepped out in her pure white wedding dress, walking slowly toward me. My entire world suddenly went quiet and faded right into the background. She was my only light. Step by step, she came closer, her eyes shining like stars and absolutely overflowing with love. I stepped forward to hold her hand, my voice soft yet absolutely firm. In the past, I had to face every storm alone, seeing only the worst of humanity and tasting nothing but bitter pain. I honestly thought my entire future would just be cold loneliness until I finally met you. You showed me what it means to be gentle and gave me someone to truly cherish, proving to me that I deserve to be loved and made whole. Today, you become my wife, and from this exact moment onward, through every single year, through every single sunrise and sunset, I promise to protect you, cherish you, and spoil you forever. I will never leave you behind or let you down. Hearing this, Qingru's eyes welled with tears as she smiled. She whispered that she only wants to stay right by Chen's side, leaning on each other forever. The crowd erupted into loud, cheering applause, showering us with warm blessings from all sides. I smiled, sliding the ring onto her finger before pulling my gorgeous new bride into a tight, emotional hug. Honestly, you can't help but smile seeing them like this. And the whole place was overflowing with love. Every beautiful thing in the universe had finally found us. The storm was over, and everything was right. From this day on, Qingru and I would spend our entire lives together, safe and happy, building the perfect future we always deserved.